Time now for one of my favourite spots on the programme, although this is a bit gloomy, I'm afraid. It's our rural spotlight, and I'm delighted to be joined now by someone that we've spoken to before about the issue of avian flu. It's been going on for ages, and I say that as someone who keeps chickens and reads about this stuff, but also in the Observer newspaper today, there is a suggestion that a new strain of avian flu on its way, and during the week it was suggested that mammals like foxes and otters can also contract avian flu, and there's not a great deal that anyone can do about it. And I'm delighted to welcome back the gentleman to whom I was referring. And there he is, Andrew Jorrett, chairman of the British Egg Industry Council. I'm guessing that the situation is still pretty grim, because I read a comment from you and your colleagues during the week that there is a growing incidence of people hoarding eggs, and that is really not helpful for the industry.
Yes, there has been a problem on egg supply. As we discussed previously, it was primarily driven by poor returns, but I'm pleased to say those are starting to come through now, and producers are starting to see more money. But the secondary influence has been the losses of birds due to bird flu. And I wouldn't say that there's an increase in the number of birds being lost, but there is, unfortunately, a steady trickle of cases still happening.
There's an awful lot of people I've spoken to, not least one or two on my team here at GBNews, who, like us, love free-range eggs. And if they go to their local supplier, unless it's a farmer's market, or go to a supermarket, increasingly difficult to get hold of.
Yes, there is still an adequate availability. There was certainly some stockpiling when the first pictures came through of empty shelves and so on, but I think that's now sort of settled back. But there are many stores now which are rationing the eggs, so you can't go in and get 2 dozen, say, if you want. You'll be limited to maybe a half dozen pack or something like that.
Had you anticipated, and are you concerned about the other breaking story during the week that came from the veterinary community, and that is that there is now evidence that mammals like foxes and otters and possibly domestic cats and dogs can pick this up? Because it isn't just free-range chickens that carry this flu. It's just as likely to be coming from wildfowl flying over open ground.
Yes, indeed. And as you are probably aware, normally with bird flu, you have a season in the winter time, which is when breeding birds come down to spend the winter in the UK, and then they go back up to breed into the Arctic regions in the summer. And in the summer, we don't get anything. Well, last summer, we had wild birds still dying from bird flu. It was in gannets and it was in gulls and things like that. And these cases that have just been announced in foxes and otters, it doesn't surprise me at all, because what probably was happening is these animals have been scavenging on dead wild birds. Commercial birds that get bird flu, the carcasses will be destroyed totally safely, so that can't happen. But of course, with the amount of wild birds that are dying with bird flu, and they'll die anywhere, and then you can't really stop a fox or an otter or another predator actually then going to eat that dead bird, and they will get a big dose of virus, and they can be affected by it. The good news, however, is that what we're not seeing is spread within the fox population from one fox to another. Each incident is a separate incursion where the fox or the otter has eaten a wild bird, an infected wild bird.
Given that we're not doing things like vaccinations or preventative treatment of chickens or ducks or geese on avian flu, does the Observer story that there may be another strain heading in our direction, is that a cause of concern, or can that just be filed away? It happens.
I think I would put that in the sort of drawer that says it happens. The current strain is H5N1, but just like the coronavirus that we've had, there are different strains within H5N1, different genomes, and I think there's about a dozen. What they may be talking about is just another one of these coming through. But because at the moment we don't have a vaccine, that is a separate issue. And I think perhaps eventually we will have vaccines. The world is working towards it. But if we do go to vaccinate, it'll have to be done virtually on a global basis. It would certainly need the UK, Europe and the USA to move together on vaccination. it could happen, but I suspect that's maybe 2 to 3 years away from now.
Fascinating. We shall watch this space, and you are our go-to expert on this matter. Andrew, thanks for breaking into your weekend once again to talk to us. That's Andrew Jorrett, chairman of the British egg industry. Go to the top. It's always best. I hope if you're a farmer or keep pets, wildfowl, and you're having different experiences, do let us know. Perfectly happy to get tweets and emails on that as well.